try my best to be as loud as possible. And if it's not working, then let's all move forward. It doesn't matter. This slideshow is based on this book, and I had spent 2 years in researching what is contained in this. The idea of doing this book at all came from my earlier work, which was Healthcare, Earthcare. And in that book I had talked about how there is lack of spirituality in two main sectors of our lives. One is agricultural production and the other is healthcare. In both cases, we are using the same perspective. That is, the earth is not a self-contained, self-healing mechanism. We need to put things from the outside, like fertilizers and pesticides and hybrid seeds and so on. Similarly with healthcare, we feel that we do not have self-healing capacities. Everything has to come from outside. That is, there should be antibiotics, there should be drugs, there should be vaccinations, all these things. But when we do have this perspective, we forget that both these systems have what is called a spirit. There is a self-balancing mechanism in the earth system as well as in our system. And if we don't take note of this, then we get a lot of difficulties which translate to ill health. So, in this book, The Self-Healing the Self, I have explored the self-healing the self in both religious and non-religious contexts. So, in religious contexts, there is the Catholic Church, traditional Muslim healing, richer in Buddhism, the Brahmakumaris, art of living, and the work of Meher Baba. In non-religious contexts, there are modalities like hypnotherapy, past life regression, pranic healing, acupressure, crystal healing, and multimodality healing. But these are not covered in this slideshow. I'm beginning with charismatic healing. This man is Father Rufus Pereira. He passed away a couple of weeks ago in London, and he was well known throughout the world as a charismatic healer or an exorcist. Charismatic healing may include touching people and speaking. The person who is the healer may speak in a language that nobody knows. So they say that the angels are speaking through this person. And many churches in India do in fact offer this kind of charismatic healing. I'm taking the example of this man called William Lobo. And what happened with William Lobo was that he had a mass in the tail of the pancreas, but it was situated in a place which could not be reached by operation. So he suffered from a great deal of pain and weakness and many bouts of not being able to get out of the bed and walk, all this. And when I met him, he was some 73 years old. And he was telling me what happened with Father Pereira, that at one point he had been so sick that his wife called the parish priest and said, "Now come and do the last rites for this, my husband." But when Father Pereira came, he did charismatic healing for him. And in 2 days, that pain and the discomfort vanished. And interestingly, just a couple of months before this, William had been in Walkout House Hospital, which is in Mulund, and there in the 2-day stay, he had spent 15,000 rupees. I saw his medical records and all that. So here's the thing as to how expensive mainstream medical care can be with all its difficulties and side effects and all those things. So when I met William Lobo, he said that he and his wife had just gone to the tour of the Holy Land, which is Jerusalem and Bethlehem and all the places which are considered holy in the Bible. In Raj Yoga meditation, people are taught how to imagine themselves as a point of light. And that point of light is used to clear the arteries and get rid of arterial blocks. Now, I have to say something about the method by which I got all this information. One is the people I have included here needed to have medical records to show that yes, they had a disease. They had this disease condition, and following this kind of intervention, they were cured of that, and they needed to have the records to prove that also, because anybody can say anything, but saying is not evidence. And the second thing that I did was that in each case, I was a participant observer. With Father Rufus Pereira, I spent a weekend doing what is called an inner healing retreat. With the Brahma Kumaris, I spent the entire time of 6 days with their healing camp. Now, to be referred to this healing camp, the participants need a referral from a tertiary hospital. Tertiary hospital is like JustGlobe or All India Institute of Medical Sciences or Asian Heart Institute, to say that these people had a minimum of 3 blocks and each block was at least 90%. That means in ordinary ways they would be eligible for surgery, but they opted not to do the surgery, but they came to this camp. This coronary artery disease project is a longitudinal study. It's now more than 15 years old, and the results are really stunning. This man is Anant Negraj, who lives in Kalwa near Navi Mumbai, I think. So he's explaining how expensive it is to undergo regular cardiac treatment, and how it was so difficult as his household could not afford this surgery, all that. But this last thing which he says, that most doctors don't educate the patient about the problem, that is wrong, because now in many cities of India, we do have preventative cardiac and cardiology programs, and that is really very good, I think. This is the Samadhi of Meher Baba, and this is in Meherabad, which is half an hour away from Ahmednagar, in Ahmednagar district. And this is the pilgrim retreat. This is 88,000 square feet of absolute calm. There are no newspapers, no radio, the internet is in a building right at the gate, and people are encouraged to be as silent as possible. How does the healing take place? To receive Baba's silence is to heal. And an example I'm giving is Zarina Mesmin. This lady had 26 strictures in the food pipe. She had gone for a hysterectomy and it went wrong. The oxygen pipe was fed into the food pipe. So she went from hospital to hospital to hospital, and finally they said, look, you're not able to eat or drink anything, so we do a food bypass. Instead, she chose to work with a person who was known to be close to Meher Baba, and through the guidance that was offered, she overcame these strictures, and now she's perfectly okay. For Zarina, it was absolutely important that she keep her job. She works at the bank nearby in Bombay's Parsi colony, and she's the sole caregiver for elderly parents, and she is a single mother for her son. So she could not afford to lose that job. And though she, for 6 years, she was so weak and so in such bad health, she continued. And her first spiritual transformation became permanent because she chose this difficult path of working with manpower. In Nichiren Buddhism, the belief is that each of us have the Buddha within us, and we need to just practice to bring forth that Buddha nature. And the chanting of the Lotus Sutra, they go on and on, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. This is supposed to be the key to unlocking the highest potential within each of us. Gitanjali Khanna had one open heart surgery and the valve had been replaced. And 5 years later they found that the valve had malfunctioned. So it was decided that she should have the next open heart surgery. And she was working here with Dr. Farooq Udhwani in Bombay. But she and her friends did intensive chanting. So the next time she went in for this scan, just before the operation, it was seen that the valve had normalized. It was not bent out of shape. So she did not need the second open heart surgery. In traditional Muslim healing, it's interesting that the healer is not the person who prescribes the healing verse. It is the patient who selects. And they have a small version of the Quran. And it is said that, please come here so you will be able to hear me. And it is said that there are no diseases that are not described in the Quran, and the healing for all these diseases are to be found in the Quran itself. So I went to work with Pirzada Abid Qadiri Sahib, whose family has been practicing this kind of traditional Muslim healing for more than 140 years. His son Shakir is now training to be a Muslim healer. And the technique is very simple, that the person is encouraged to describe whatever is wrong with him or her. And finally they are called into Abid Qadiri Sahib's small room. And there they put the finger at random onto any verse in the Quran.